Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first learning session. This morning's first session is multi-channel marketing, the key to expanding revenue. Would you please welcome the CEO of Invoca, Mr. Jason Spievak.
That's it? Seriously, all right. How many people were up past one last night? Keep your hand. Okay, 2 on this people. All right. You got your copy. So welcome everybody. Wanted to have the chance to share with you what we're seeing happening on the multi-channel marketing side. We've got a presentation we can take you through, and I'd like to introduce the folks that are here on stage with me. We've got Bruce Cook, who is the SVP of Corporate Development for LendingTree, a brand you guys are all no doubt familiar with. And Marc, who's the GM of MUNDO Media. We're fortunate to be able to work with both of these folks as clients and partners. And they'll each have the chance to share with you guys today a little bit about how they are making multi-channel marketing work. So before we dive in, a couple of quick questions to get a sense of the folks that are in the room and are engaging here. Quick show of hands, how many would consider yourselves to be in the category of a brand? Consider yourselves to be representing primarily a brand here today. So we've got a few, great. How many would consider yourselves to be in that agency business category? Great, so we got a handful more. Good, glad to hear it. We'll try and tailor the content as best as we can to the group that we've got assembled here. So what is multi-channel marketing? We'll dive in and share some detail with you, but the bottom line is multi-channel marketing really means nothing more than understanding the fact that the consumers that we're all trying to reach are using multiple different devices today, multiple different channels to receive their information and engage with advertisers. It's not a complex technological overview, right? It's not profoundly different than what you're doing today. It simply comes down to the fact that if you continue to market to your prospects through 1 or 2 channels, you're simply not going to be reaching them as effectively as you can be, and I think that's what everyone is interested in learning about here today. So, again, quick show of hands here. I'm sure you guys are getting tired by now. Within your operations, how many people here are doing something in mobile marketing today? How many people are doing something with mobile today? Great. So, not more than 1/3 of the folks in the room. So, for the rest of you who are here today that are thinking mobile is big and scary, and how do I market there, and how do I measure it? How do I make money there? How do I know whether it's working? Those are the things that will help you get some insight into today. You're not going to come away as an expert after the next 45 minutes, but hopefully what you'll come away with is a clearer understanding that it's not that hard to get started with mobile, and that yes, in fact, multi-channel marketing is every bit as measurable as the channels that you're working with today. So we'll be able to give you a few examples. We'll all be available after the presentation today as well. So a couple of interesting statistics to kind of wrap your minds around how big mobile is today. By 2015, which is exactly 1 year away, the vast majority of companies marketing in North America expect to be marketing to mobile devices. So how big is the market opportunity we're talking about here? So to put it in some perspective, there was a little over $300 billion spent on advertising in the US last year. And only about $70 billion of that was online, right? A little more than 20% of total advertising spent last year. The other $250 billion is being spent every year, not to drive a click that's converting it 1 or 2%, but to drive a different kind of customer engagement. A brand impression, a store visit, or a phone call. Tens of billions of inbound phone calls from consumers to businesses every year in the US. That's the space that most of us here live in. what's interesting is the marketing tools that are out there today. If you think about what you guys each use to track and manage and optimize your businesses, the leading marketing tools out there like Salesforce.com, like Marketo, like Eloqua, like ExactTarget, all those applications designed to help you measure the effectiveness of your online marketing are completely ignoring that most valuable piece of mobile marketing, which is those tens of billions of inbound phone calls. So this is, to me, one of the most compelling reasons to wake up and get involved in mobile. And in fact, it's one of the largest drivers behind our business, Invoca. So you can hopefully read some of that. If not, I'll climb up here and point it out to you. But the gray line there is desktop search queries. The number of times that people are searching Google from a laptop or a desktop, from a bigger screen. The black line is mobile search queries. The number of times that people are searching on Google from a mobile device. Mobile is rapidly outpacing desktop search. It's probably the way that you guys all do it yourselves. You may not be mobile marketers yet, but I would expect that you're all mobile consumers, right? How many people have a smartphone? iPhone, Android? Okay, finally everybody raises their hand, right? So nearly 100% of us here are consuming content and marketing messages on a mobile device, yet just a handful in the room of these professional marketers are using it as a marketing channel. So we're going to spend some time on that because what's interesting is the green line is the growth in the number of phone calls that mobile search is driving to businesses. And this is in the billions, right? Several billion more calls in the US every year from consumers to businesses because of mobile search. You guys are using it as a consumer, you need to start using it as a marketer. We're going to show you how. So, a couple more quick statistics here, just in case you guys weren't already convinced. In our view, the whole world's a funnel, right? It's a customer acquisition funnel. You've got impressions at the top, and you've got closed deals at the bottom, right? The phone call, the inbound phone call from a prospect or a consumer is much deeper in that funnel than a click or an impression, right? So it's no surprise that the brands and some of the categories that we all live and breathe, like insurance and financial services and many others, are willing to pay a lot more for an inbound phone call than they are for a click. And that's really what drives our business. The reason why, obviously, is that phone calls convert at a much better rate than clicks. Right? It's a much more engaged customer or prospect that you have on the phone there by the time they make the decision and do the hard work to call into you. So at the end of the day, what's it come down to? It comes down to the fact that people are using multiple devices to do their homework, to do their shopping, and to make their purchases. In fact, Todd Rowe at Google said the other day, he brought out some stats at his Kelsey conference. Google has found that 90% of consumers begin a purchase process on one device and complete it on another. And that device is most frequently the smartphone. So that's what we're here to talk about today. We'll share some great examples with you guys. So why the phone call? Because more than half of consumers out there, when researching on mobile, make a purchase within the hour. Right? It speaks to certain categories that close very well over the phone versus online. So, I'm not sure if you guys can see the slide up here. Am I standing in the way of this? But there will be opportunities to win money here today. So, and I'm not kidding, you guys are looking at one of them, somebody better grab it before the screen passes. Okay. There will be another opportunity. So, if you look at mobile marketing, it's not the small screen where people are closing deals, right? Think about if you're researching a product or service, you will search on your mobile device, you will thumb through a few pages of content. If it's not optimized for that small screen, you're going to abandon it. And also, no one's going to thumb in their 16-digit credit card number and billing address and page through pages of input on a mobile phone. You're going to do what comes naturally, which is you're going to pull this phone out of your pocket and tap the button and put it to your head and place a call. And that's happening billions of times, tens of billions of times a year in the US. So mobile marketing is great for engaging a customer, but it's not realistic for most product categories, especially some of the more considered purchases like insurance, for example, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes here. I'm getting a call from Portland, Oregon. Questions correctly. Come on up. Will you take a check? See, it pays to pay attention. So there will be other opportunities today, so keep paying attention. You guys have more chances. So it's not realistic to think that someone's going to go through the entire path to purchase on a mobile device, right? It's just not, it's not set up well to accommodate that process. What it is designed to do is drive a phone call. People consume content here. When it comes time to purchase, especially for anything that's any sort of continuity sale, anything that's over about $150 price point, anything that's particularly complex, right? Satellite TV, no one's clicking buy it now. You need to call in and schedule an install appointment. Insurance, I'm going to shop like heck all day long to find the best price. When it comes time to pull the trigger and purchase insurance, auto insurance, I've got questions. I'm going to press the button that calls the phone number on that page, or I'm going to call the phone number on the website in front of me. So at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is you need to be where your customers and your prospects are. They are not just online, they are not just offline. They are not just on a mobile device, they are not just on TV. Right? Technologies exist now, we're going to show you some of them, that let you know that it's the same consumer that saw your TV commercial that's now on your website. Right? That's now calling in. Those technologies exist. We make them, these guys use them. There are a variety of options out there, but the bottom line is you can't have your head in the sand anymore thinking that they're separate animals. It's the same consumer, and they all own all those devices. In fact, I don't think I have a statistic here that in this deck. I forget the number, but the vast majority of people who are watching television today in the US are also active with another screen at the same time they're watching TV. I can throw a number out there, but think about your own experience, right? How often you find yourselves watching TV and you've got your laptop in your lap, or your phone in your hand, or your iPad, or the person sitting next to you on the couch has a screen in their hand and no one's actually watching the TV? You're sort of triple multitasking at the same time? So the technology exists now to be able to reach that consumer on all those devices and know that it's the same person. And if you're not doing it, you're going to fall behind. So we'll show you how easy it is to get started doing that. Bruce, you want to Mark, go ahead.
Thanks, Jason. So as you can see, consumers have a lot more choices than ever before to decide when, where, and how to use your information. As you can see, consumers use a mix of offline and online sources, and there's a lot of them. I think on this slide alone, there's almost 20. Think about your own daily lives, like Jason said, and how many of you and your family members engage in these different channels each day, in front of the TV, in the office, driving, on the bus, etc. Marketing-wise, think of the diagram as an orchestra, and the different instruments and sections that make up that orchestra. The orchestra as a whole plays most effectively when all sections of the orchestra are in concert with the help of a conductor. More on this analogy a little bit later. Same goes for multi-channel marketing today. As Jason just covered, the trend is increasingly moving towards mobile. People get information using their devices, on the go, when they want, how they want, and when they actually have time. So what is today's direct response? Why does today's direct response need multi-channel? Consumers marketing through multi-channel spend 3 to 4 more than new consumers that are marketing through single channel. You make more money. Consumers also expect to be marketed on different channels and have a lower opinion of merchants that do not use the multi-channel approach. Consumers have choice, and therefore they have the control. Marketers must adapt. This is a pretty major shift from, say, 5 years ago, where consumers were marketed just through a few traditional channels. Today you have a lot of different mobile devices. You have iPads, you have smartphones, you have smart TVs, etc. So why does today's DR need multi-channel? Continue. So where online and mobile tie into sales is through this statistic. 63% of purchases that were researched online convert offline. This means the majority of internet users do their research online before committing to purchase offline, visit a store, or book an appointment. Think of buying a car, or if you're moving, finding a new doctor, you're going to go online, and you're going to do independent research. You're going to go on YouTube, watch videos, etc. So it's a prime example of the new multi-channel marketer mindset that everyone needs to have today. So what do consumers want? They want merchants to take into account their purchasing history, their preferences, and other opt-in information from marketing. The majority of consumers said they would look down at businesses that did not utilize this data when targeting a specific. You have the data, now use it effectively. The takeaway here is since most consumers have homes with more than 5 internet connected devices, double that of just last year, the majority of these consumers do research online on these devices before purchasing. Consumers demand businesses target effectively and consistently on all of their devices. So what are some of the challenges today? There's a few. So delivering a consistent marketing message across all of your platforms. Display team doesn't talk to the search team, maybe the search team is outsourced. Display team is competing with the mobile team. A lot of organizations that we work with have these fragmented business models. Unfortunately, that results in a fragmented message to the consumer, which is often confusing and inconsistent. It's a great problem. Marketers also have limited knowledge of some individual marketing channels. So a lot of the folks in this room, we are experts on TV, or radio, or print, but not necessarily experts online, particularly mobile. So proper message targeting and opt-in consumer data. So if you think of yourself, if I'm on a website and I'm shopping for dog food or dog toys, I've engaged and I've given you my information. Don't send me information without cat. So make sure that you're listening to your consumers, the information that they're giving. Again, the consumers have choice and they have control. Consumers are not going to change their habits. Marketers must. So how it's done? At a minimum, a multi-channel approach should have a funnel: campaign management, segmentation, and execution. Advanced analytics and campaign optimization, response attribution, and finally, digital marketing knowledge into our channels. So campaign management and segmentation. Several years ago, I was the chief marketing officer of an online media company, largest in the country before it sold to Matchbox. I broke out all my campaigns into different segments. So based on age, demographic, body type, sexual preference, etc. I further broke it down then to different channels. So display, search, email, social. All those different channels had a different acquisition cost. They all had different LTV. I made sure that my messaging aligned with each specific channel. That's critical. A lot of marketers today use static landing pages. They're not changing around even still, and that's critical. Lower your acquisition cost. Find what those segments are, and you'll be able to execute much more cost efficiently. So advanced analytics and campaign optimization. So building on that fact. So being able to, ask yourself, okay, so this user is coming in looking for this particular service, and this user is coming in looking for that particular service. Using specific keywords and analytics, and actually building that into your CRM, project management workforce, depending on what you have. Looking at that LTV analysis, it's invaluable. Lastly, our third point is the response attribution. A lot of folks I spoke to last night during the networking event had concerns about attribution. They're not sure where their users are coming from. They have a specific number, maybe for a specific PR campaign, but they haven't been able to break it out internally where those numbers are coming from or the actual user value. So it's having the CRM that supports those initiatives as well, especially knowing which channel to use. It's also the digital marketing knowledge of some of these newer channels. A lot of the advertisers we work with, like I said before, are experts in specific channels. I think a lot of people, they're still struggling in the mobile arena. They don't know how to do it. They're confused by it. They're confused by some of the changes in the search engines. But it's not rocket science. So I think if you have the foundation of each of these 4 items, lay the groundwork for a consistent marketing experience for your consumers. And that's what they're all looking for, consistency. We'll go back to the analogy of hearing an entire orchestra play all led by the conductor, rather than hearing parts of the orchestra at certain times whenever they feel it. So paper call has been a key mechanism that bridges intent with real offline action points. In this instance, with getlocal.com is one of the sites we own. The goal is to get consumers into booking appointments and physically showing up in dental offices. And this is one of the many verticals that we work in. We have a lot of different buyers. Some of them are regionally, some of them are nationally, and some are just specific buyers of these leads. We sell them the leads both through desktop lead generation and increasingly through paper call. Paper call brings together both online and offline, making a qualified trackable channel for our business. So how do we do it? We utilize offline and online channels such as print, radio, TV, and desktop traffic. Again, the goal is to drive consumers into the actual practices where they're going to actually show up for their appointments. We integrate with different practice management software, so we can actually see, based on certain keywords or ad groups or radio buys or TV buys, exactly how many of those consumers are actually showing up physically for those booked appointments. So again, that deep integration with the CRM is also key when you can do it. Obviously, it's easier said than done. So to do something like this yourself, we work with a marketing partner like MUNDO Media and set up call parameters. So on the paper call arena, you get to choose what time of day that you want to receive calls. So if your call center is only open from 9 to 5, 9 to 8, you're only going to get those calls between those specific times. If your call parameters are such that it takes your CSR reps 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 120 seconds to qualify that consumer, you can set that up and you can suppress the pixel or the track or the action until the specific consumer hits that duration. So you're only paying exactly what you want based on the time of day. It's strictly performance-based. And you set up other unique goals as well. So, states, geos, locations, type of users. You can put them through an IVR before they actually get to your call center reps to actually qualify. So if somebody is just calling to get information about a service, let's say you're an auto insurance company, someone's calling for a question about an existing plan, you can actually screen those users out so that you're not paying for an acquisition value. So you only pay for qualified inbound calls that meet your unique criteria. The best part about it is that this works, particularly when targeting mobile devices. Jason alluded to earlier the conversion rates. Typically, with desktop traffic, you're seeing 2, 3, 4, maybe 5% conversions. It's not unusual on mobile to see 5 times that rate. So we have our campaigns where we have conversions between 35 and 70%, depending on the terms, time of day, call messaging, etc. So we've also done this in a lot of different industries. We specialize in professional services, home services, travel, obviously seasonal opportunities. Anyone looking to purchase flowers, chances are, in case you've forgotten for Valentine's Day, it's Friday like I did, if you go on your devices right now and you type in flowers on your mobile phones, you're going to see a lot of different ads and you'll see specific numbers. Chances are if you see those numbers, there are ads and they're going through Jason's technology. Bottom line here is that the strategy plays into the blend of both offline and online, which is possible today and it works. So keys to launching a multi-channel campaign yourself. You have to have the right strategy for your unique business and your unique industry. You have to have the right marketing mix and emphasis on certain channels. There has to be automation and reporting so it's easy to evaluate your success and optimization. It shouldn't be rocket science to be able to pull data from different sources. You want to have all the data, or as much of the data as you can in real time, to make those real-time informed decisions. You have to do this with a partner that has the experience, the track record, and the ability to execute. To finish with the initial analogy, advertisers have to construct their orchestra for their marketing channels and initiatives and make up their own orchestra, and do so with a conductor or the right marketing partner to lead that effort. With that, I'll turn it over.
I'm going to dive in just in 1 second before we bring Bruce on. And Complementary, certainly a brand that everyone here recognizes. I like the last slide that Marc had up because it did a couple of things. One of which, it probably leaves you with the impression that, hey, this is still pretty complicated. There's a lot of moving parts here. There are, no doubt. But what makes it work and why it's an interesting combination of people on stage today is that you are able to work with partners who are specializing in parts of multi-channel marketing, in particular parts of mobile marketing, right? The mix you have on stage that's working today is you have the brand, you have essentially the agency horsepower, there's a lot more going on there than just the agency function. And then you've got a technology platform that streamlines and simplifies a lot of the things that Bruce's team needs to do and Marc's team needs to do on their behalf. You do not need to become experts in all of the different components of multi-channel marketing, right? Bruce is an expert on developing and managing and scaling the Tree brand, right? Marc is an expert on optimizing the placement of media and building those relationships and optimizing campaign flows for his customers. And we are experts in building software that automates a lot of the things that these guys need to do to make money for themselves and their clients. So you don't need to come away from here thinking that you need to be able to be an expert in each of those 5 points that Marc just had on his slide. What you need to come away with from today is an understanding that, yeah, I need to be doing this. I'm not doing my job completely if I'm not doing multi-channel marketing today, so I need to start taking steps in that direction. And B, there are partners to work with to get you started and help you scale. So we'll all be available for questions afterward. Bruce's case is pretty compelling here. I saw that point on your slide and I thought it was good understanding here. If I were sitting in your shoes right now, I'd be thinking, God, that's every bit as much work as I was afraid it was going to be. Right? It's complicated. But there are partners out there you work with and integrate with each other to handle all these different pieces for you. That's why it's working today. It's why mobile marketing and multi-channel marketing are scaling. So with that, let's step into a case that I think will be very familiar to all of you folks if you ever turn on your TV. And again, there's also a chance to walk out here with more money. And it's not just compensation for the poor folks that got to come to Florida from Portland. So with that, I'll give you the...
So good morning. For all of you that come from a city that's about to get hit by a snowstorm, welcome to Miami Beach. So I'm Bruce Cook from Lending Tree. For those of you that don't know the Lending Tree brand, we're a 15-year-old company in the lending space. We're a marketing advertising company. We spent $1 billion building this brand over the 15 years. We have exceptionally high aided and unaided brand awareness. We've helped 35 million people in that 15 years save money on loans. Our products and services are how consumers connect with us. In the sales funnel, go from learning, we have tools for consumers to learn, engagement, we have a lot of calculators and different tools there. Consumers move to a shopping experience and then to a transaction. So the point here is that have something for consumers at every stage of the sales cycle. We thought we'd bring along a campaign that we launched last spring. This is Lenny. Lenny was built for us by Jim Henson, the Muppets group. He's been a great spokesperson for Lending Tree in the last year. And he's very, very usable in terms of all kinds of products. Lenny is a little, he's an alter ego of Len, and you'll see him in the commercial here. And the great thing about Lenny is we can get him to say anything, and he does. So it pays to watch closely. So we'll show you a commercial, and then we'll show you how we fit all of the other online marketing campaigns around it.
Looking sharp, Len. Who's the lucky lady?
We're going to the bank to discuss a mortgage.
See, you get a loan, you put on a suit, you go crawling to the bank. This is how I dress to to get a mortgage. I just go to LendingTree, calculate how much home I can afford. I get multiple offers to compare side by side. And the best part is, the banks come crawling to me.
Everything you need to get a better mortgage. Calling optional. LendingTree. When banks compete, you win.
Okay. And you won't find a better offer anyway.
Oh, I smell BS. Hey, does anyone else here smell BS? You can't bank speak, Len. I'm talking about bank speak. And frankly, he's full of it. At LendingTree, you can compare up to 5 competitive mortgage offers. You get their rates, their fees, and their customer ratings instead of just this.
Cut the bank speak. Compare up to 5 offers. At LendingTree. When banks compete, you win.
It really is an exceptional offer.
There's that smell again.
So you can see Larry's a little rude sometimes. So we take our offline television campaign, it's also in print radio as well, and we move Lenny completely through the whole, everything that we touch with consumers. This is the website, you'll see Lenny's on there. An interesting thing about LendingTree is it's always been a television advertising company, and the DNA is driving consumers to an 800 number. We got into the online business about 5 or 6 years ago, so we're fairly new there. But the call business and the 800 number business has always been paramount to us in driving extremely high quality consumers to the lenders. We use Lenny completely through everything. Form integration, he helps people get through forms. Every step of the way, there's an 800 number. If this was on a mobile device, there would be click to call, and you would be right inside our call center in seconds. Display advertising, again, we use Lenny completely through. Telephone numbers prominent, click to call if this ad was on mobile. Email campaigns, again, 800 number is in there, and Lenny is talking about this interesting thing about email. For us, 50% of these email campaigns that we do are opened up on a mobile device, and a tremendous amount, a high percentage of those mobile device opens result in a click to call into our call center. So it's an interesting dynamic that's changing. Social, huge. So here's, we've got Lenny on Facebook, and he talks to consumers in a social environment. He's also got an interesting message here. Again, Lenny's got a tweet. He was tweeting through the Super Bowl. Had a lot of interesting comments to make. Again, he doesn't hold his mind. YouTube, all the commercials are on YouTube, and we drive a tremendous amount of calls out of these social channels. Again, website. I don't know how it's going backwards. Right. This is Lenny's money tweet.
Thank you. So, I'm not sure how late you guys stayed up last night, but you guys passed up the opportunity to make money. So, what's that? Who'd you call? Maybe he did the right thing and turned his phone off while he was up here. You better call him back. So you guys see how the marketing works across channels. Bruce made a really interesting point there, which is going to make me ask you guys another question. How many people are doing email marketing today as part of your efforts? So raise your hand if you're doing some form of email. Really, I can count on one hand here. 5 or 6 people in the audience. All right, 6, 7. Do I hear you? So Mark said 50% of emails are being opened on mobile devices today. That should change the way that you think about email, right? It's still one of the highest converting mediums out there. Across our platform, we see roughly 30% conversion rates on email campaigns. One of the highest converting mediums out there, half of them, and growing, are being read on this device today, right? And what is this? That's a trick question. It's phone, right? Including the phone numbers in your email marketing drives up your conversion rates very, very substantially. Simply having the phone number present in your multi-channel marketing drives up the online engagement rates and click-throughs, as well as driving phone calls for you. There's no reason not to have your phone numbers prominently featured in your online, offline, and mobile advertising, as you see throughout the lending tree and lending campaigns very consistently. So we've talked so far about the attribution piece. And that's sort of a $5 word for knowing where your leads are coming from. He gave you lots of good examples of businesses that spend tons of money and have no clue where their leads are coming from, but that's the attribution piece. Probably a lot of what you guys do these days, trying to figure out which customers came from which media placements, which marketing spend. So the attribution piece is typical. It's essential to understanding what's performing and what's not, no doubt. But that's sort of table stakes when you're driving inbound phone calls. In a click environment, you don't really care that much whether a media partner of yours is driving low-quality click traffic to your website on a pay-for-performance basis, not costing you anything but a few electrons and some storage. But for a phone call, you care pretty deeply if your media partners are driving low-quality calls to your call center. Right? It's costing you several dollars every time your agents pick up the phone. You want those calls, because as we saw earlier, and I'm sure you guys see in your businesses, phone calls convert very well. Higher average order value as well when that trained agent gets you on the phone and takes you through their cross-sells and the upsells, and trip cancellation insurance, the extended warranties, and all that good and high-margin stuff. So you want those calls, but you only want the good ones. Right? You don't want some media partner slamming your call center with low-quality calls. You also don't want to be that media partner that's alienating your best brands because you're dumping low-quality phone calls into their call center. So how do you solve that problem? Right? The problem is the brands want those calls. The media partners want to drive them, but everyone's in agreement that you really only want good calls. So it's not enough just to track them. You also need a tool set that lets you control and manage and optimize the quality of the phone calls that are flowing in to that call center. And those tools exist today. That's exactly what we do, as an example, at Invoca. And it's why groups like Lending Tree and MUNDO Media are able to work together so effectively, because there's a tool set that lets them control the flow, the quality, the pricing, everything about those inbound phone calls. So it's not enough just to know where those calls are coming from. That call tracking and analytics piece, again, attribution, right, a word I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. That really means knowing exactly where your leads, or in this case your phone calls, are coming from. Right? Getting visibility into what's working and what's not. That's the analytics piece. But again, it comes down to quality, right? With clicks, it doesn't matter as much. With print impressions, it doesn't really matter, right? Those aren't as measurable. But with phone calls, you care deeply about just getting those higher quality calls into your call center, the ones that are most likely to convert into customers. More information afterward if someone's interested in learning how it works. I don't want to sort of derail around technology today, but suffice to say there's this magic filter out there that you can apply to your inbound call campaigns, and only the calls that meet your criteria and have a high likelihood of converting are even going to bring into your call center. And more on that later if people have questions. What it really comes down to is you need the analytics, the tracking piece, right? You guys use analytics in your business every day, right? Whether it's spreadsheets or software tools. But you also need that programmatic, rules-based, if this, then route the call over there, marketing tool set that you can access from a browser You don't have to go down the hall to talk to your IT department about integration. You don't have to go talk to the call center about getting APIs integrated, et cetera, et cetera. You can do it all through a browser today. You as the marketing manager, as the agency person, as the brand manager, can control the quality and the flow of those phone calls that are ringing to your call center today. And far from being attacked by the call center people, they'll simply look at the results at the end of the month and say, I'm not sure what you did, but the calls that are coming in from this channel are converting better than ours. Right? Because they've been filtered using technology in real time, which creates the win for the brand, the consumer, and the agencies and the ad networks in between. So at the end of the day, there are tools out there that let you close that loop between your multi-channel marketing spend and your sales that are closing in the call center. I'll give a quick example here, and then we'll save some time for questions as well. I won't name the company because they're a partner of ours, a customer and an investor of ours, but a large software company that you all know of, a very large software company with a market cap in the tens of billions of dollars. We met with them a few months back and asked them our sort of basic 4 questions. Do you like inbound phone calls for business? Right, the answer is no, it's have a nice day, right? That's the piece that we do. But assuming that you're like most of the Fortune 5,000, you like inbound calls because they convert well. So they went and looked at their data and said, yes, in fact, inbound phone calls are our highest converting lead type, with more than 50% of the inbound calls to their toll-free number converting into a qualified lead that gets handed from marketing to sales in their organization. Okay. Do you know where those phone calls are coming from? No. All we know is when we spend more on advertising, we also get more phone calls. So I just divide them ratably across all these different channels of spending. Okay. Do you know how much those highest converting inbound leads are costing you? No idea. So here's a software company with an 11-figure market cap that has no idea where their best leads are coming from, how much they cost them, or how to get more of them. Right? That's the extent to which the lack of visibility exists. You guys aren't that far behind the 8 ball, right? Big companies are just figuring this out right now. But the tools exist now to let you know easily, and with a click of a button in a browser, where are those best leads coming from? How do I dial up the good ones? How do I dial down the bad ones? Right? Those tools exist where you can sit at your computer over a sandwich and manage those processes today with no IT integration. So it's not that hard to get started. You take that first step. We saw a couple of examples today of how like Tree, which has spent billions of dollars, over $1 billion building a brand that everyone here in the room is familiar with, and how that brand has made the leap from single-channel marketing on television to multi-channel marketing across all the devices that their target customers are interacting with them on today. So with that, I think we can save time for some questions here. We've got about 10 minutes left. So do we have a winner second time around? You gotta come up. Where are you from? Like Tom Jones. Where are you from? Come on up on stage. You want to? Okay, I don't feel bad giving money to people from privates. Buy yourself a nice scarf. Thank you. So, thank you. Questions? You guys are all figured out from here, but we've got time for a few questions if you got it. So I'll start with the first one. Marc, when in the development of your business did you begin managing inbound phone calls for customers? And at a high level, what has the impact been in terms of scale of your programs and impact on margins for your customers?
So I think for us, we started managing calls for some of our clients approximately 5 years ago. We worked with a few different verticals. The example that I provided earlier with the local dentist was probably the first that we started in professional services vertical, and the impact has been tremendous. I think you mentioned earlier, Jason, with a lot of different clients, they have these large budgets, and they're seeing a lot of these calls coming in. They don't know where they're coming from. In this particular channel, pay per call, you can see exactly where that call is coming from. You can look at the different devices it's coming from, so you can understand the demographics of users, states, time of day, etc. So it's been invaluable for us in terms of targeting. As a media company that buys on behalf of a lot of our clients, and then also has an affiliate arm with about 20,000 partners, we obviously drive a lot of value. We drive a lot of volume in the payment call space. So in that particular vertical, I think we went from, we started off doing maybe 1,000 calls a day initially. Now we're at the point where we're doing 2,000 calls a day just through mobile search. We have the ability to do 2,000 a day just through radio. And obviously we do the same thing with television and print. So it's tremendous. And it really complements a lot of what we're doing online, which is, we're generating leads. Users are filling out their information, looking for, for example, in this vertical, looking for your dentist. But that information goes to a call center and then the outbound that call, which they have to obviously do it in the year that is dead. And that there's an additional cost to do all that and process all those leads. Whereas the paper call, one of those leads or when those phone calls are happening, it's done so in real time using the proper targeting. We pass that information on to our buyers, and it's really good.
Great. So, Bruce, a question for you, probably for both of you guys. I know we've only got a few minutes here. Hopefully, we'll work through a couple of questions. Do you guys have enough interest in understanding multi-channel marketing that you're here? Are you looking to learn something from this session? You're a little nervous about how much work it represents. You don't want to screw it up. You don't want to start to put client resources towards something that you're not going to be able to show ROI from. And maybe you're looking for sort of pace around. You're looking for maybe that toe in the water. How do I get started? What do I do next coming off of this? Rather than just go, okay, there's a lot of big, complicated stuff swimming around out there that I wish I knew more about. I would ask both of you guys. A year ago, you're sitting here in the audience. 2 years ago, you're sitting in the audience, kind of having the realization that I need to learn more about this and I need to start doing something. I can't ignore the fact that my customers, tomorrow's customers, want to interact with me on a phone, on a smartphone device. How does my experience for them with that need to change? What advice do you have for the people here that are looking to take that first step to getting started with multi-channel marketing? Probably a good question for both of you guys.
I guess some recent history. Our headquarters is in Charlotte, North Carolina. About 2 years ago, we completely swapped out our marketing department, opened up an office in San Francisco, and so it was a fresh start there. The whole marketing team was completely disbanded when we started from scratch 2 years ago. And so the interesting thing is we have about 45 people in marketing sitting in San Francisco, and it's a very sort of young and new team. Everything is siloed out in terms of the disciplines, whether it's display, email, search affiliate, performance channel, biz dev channel, social, and I think the one thing that we've learned is you have to tie all of the marketing together. The display team can't sit in isolation and combine CPC, CBM against a performance team that doesn't know what they're doing, that's buying CPL, CPA. So really the analytics is what ties it all together. Get your analytics together, your team first, that's the glue.
I think if I'm sitting here a year or two ago and I didn't know a lot about paper call and really the power of mobile, I think you have to not be threatened by it. It's really, although there's a lot of different channels and a lot of different processes, it's really easy to set it up. Work at a different company like Invoca, get on a quick call, they do a brief introduction of the product and services, the data points that they're going to collect. They can actually track all the calls, so you can actually audit them and listen to them, so you never have to worry about the quality. It's really attractive. But more importantly, I think different departments, depending on how large your organization is, this isn't a threat, this is complementary. This is part of your online marketing mix, and that's how you should view it. Just like you have your TV buys and radio buys, you need to have your mobile search buys. You know, it doesn't have to be anything that you worry about in terms of putting a lot of resources in. It's all done for you. It's seamless, it's quick. You can literally have a campaign up if you wanted to in a matter of minutes. It's actually that easy. So I would encourage people, you know, when you're going back and you're having these discussions, to really consider it as part of the online marketing mix. Because there are, you know, that slide that Jason showed at the beginning, you know, the growth in terms of mobile search is huge. It's overtaking desktop. Users are considerably more valuable than any organization that's not doing it. You know, you're behind.
I know we've got time for maybe one or two more. If there are questions here, I got a bunch for you guys. So, quick show of hands. Again, you can use your other hand if you want to. How many people here would consider television to be the primary medium that they're managing today? So, about a third of the room. All right. What's interesting is the way that television is changing, right? You can't ignore where it's going now. It's becoming more interactive. You're targeting people who are on more than one device. You're putting a commercial in front of somebody, and you know that they're interacting on another device right there in their lap, right? They're more likely to go search out the URL of the business they're seeing on TV than to take the desired action from the TV commercials, right? And my youngest is 10, and she knows how from any device in the house, using Apple TV or Chromecast or an iPad or an iPhone or a MacBook or anything we've got in the house, how to throw any content she wants up on the television. Right, that 50-inch TV in the family room, it's just a big monitor to them. They have the kids who are growing up and becoming our consumers, they don't differentiate between whether that content is being streamed from YouTube or Hulu from a device wirelessly over to here, or whether it happens to be coming through DirecTV or a cable source, right? They don't differentiate anymore. The TV is not seen as the source of the content, it's seen as a monitor, essentially. It is a device for broadcasting content from multiple sources on it. That's what multi-channel means. It doesn't mean multiple devices. People are still watching a big screen in their houses. They're just engaging with different types of content from different sources on that device. So the definition of television for us is going to change. I like the point Marc made a second ago, so let me ask you guys one more question here, and I'm getting a sign here shortly, I know. How many people here have bought search on Google in some flavor or another, directly or through your clients? How many people have paid money for it? So, okay, a little less than half, probably. It is easier to set up campaigns to track and manage and optimize inbound phone calls and pay for them based on the quality of those calls. It's easier to do that than setting up a Google AdWords campaign, which tens of millions of people do all the time. So, don't let the front end chase you off from coming in and learn more. You can find very interesting information on the MUNDO and LendingTree websites. You can find very interesting information, including some very simple 1-minute how to get started videos on the Invoca website. You don't need to go sign up for an account, but you do need to start getting yourselves educated, because when we're sitting here a year from now, and I ask how many people are doing mobile marketing, more than double the hands in the same crowd are going to go up. You have that time to become one of those people who can develop a basic level of expertise in it over the coming year. So if we're sitting here again a year from now, you're not one of the few remaining people that isn't putting their hand up. So I think we got time for one more question if anybody's got any. You guys are all experts now, perfect. So please feel free to come up and talk with any of us following the show here, and be happy to help you out and answer your questions. Thank you very much.